morning. It is 7:15 and the sun's not all the way up yet. Like, it's up, but it's not up. Do not expect this to be the most coherent live video I've ever made. So I'm just putting that out there. I have so many thoughts and I only have like 10 minutes before I'm at work. So let's see what happens here. Number one, the reason I just went ahead and like pushed live on this thing is because and by the way, you see me like not looking at the camera, so I'm not interested in your like, be safe on the road comment. I mean, yes, thank you, I'll be safe, but like, I'm not looking at you. So number one, I'm sitting here listening to Amanda Seals' podcast, Small Doses, which is pretty good if you are into the theatrical. It took me a minute because she is theatrical. She sings and she like does voices, and she's, I guess, an actress, and so she does all these things that are not just talk, and apparently I'm just nerdy enough to usually just want to listen to somebody talk. So take that with a grain of salt. Also, go watch her HBO special, I Be Knowin', because it is good. It is funny. Probably even more funny to me because she makes several references to black people who grew up with white people, which is very much my story. So there's that. That is what I was listening to. I'm listening to side effects of, all of her shows are side effects of blank. So I'm listening to the side effects of Pan-Africanism part 2. So I've obviously already listened to part 1. And she is talking about, a listener question, something about having a black experience somewhere. I don't even really remember the question. However, she starts talking about her mother, who's from Grenada, and how much her mother always wanted to go to Memphis, Tennessee, and how she, as like a Chicagoan, and I think she might be from California or something too, said, why do you want to go to Tennessee that bad? Like, what's the big deal? And for her mother, it was a huge deal because black music, because MLK, because of all of these things. And so, so they went, and it was like this really enriching experience for both of them. Okay, cool. So don't know what happened, but I'm listening to her talk, and she makes these references to MLK. Apparently they were recording that particular podcast on MLK Day, and all of a sudden I start thinking about traveling, and I start thinking about like, because she says something about going to an Underground Railroad site, and I'm like, I've never been to like the deep south, right? Like, I've been to Houston, I've been to I drove through Alabama to get to Gulf Shores, Florida. No, to get to Gulf Shores, Alabama. But that's just a tourist beach. That's not civil rights Alabama, right? And so I've never been to a place like that, except for in Houston, which, you know, Texas was its own country for a while. It's got its own stuff going on. So I was like, I should go to Mississippi. And as I start thinking about going to Mississippi to like experience civil rights things, like, I just got tears. Like, I just got like overwhelmed about thinking about, I'm going to see what happens if I turn the slide off. Okay, perfect. I got overwhelmed about thinking about exploring our black history even more than I already have. And I'm a middle ground person, right? Like, I don't know everything there is to know about black history. I'm not a quiz whiz. Like, I can't win a trivia game, but I do know some things. And I just was immediately overwhelmed by the idea of delving further into our history that way, which immediately led me to the thought, as I'm on my way to school, of like instilling that kind of awe and reverence for our history, for our culture, into my students. And that's one thing I miss about Millwood, is that you couldn't walk a few feet without getting like hit in the head by love for Black history. Not because it's like overt, but because everybody that I worked with when I was there walked around with it. Like, that was just a way that was the way that we carried ourselves, and that was what was important to us, is that we connected our rich past to what we want to be our well-educated and well-rounded and well-adjusted future. So, let's put some of my life in context for a minute. Last year, and a couple of weeks back, January 12th, I was performing with JB, performing my Black Future poems, and he was doing his Life and Times show. And the principal of the school that I work at, but who's no longer the principal, was at the show, and apparently like loved my poem and asked me if I needed a job next year. And at the time, I wanted to stay at the school that I was at because I loved the principal that I had, etc. That's how we made our connection. We later became friends on Facebook. It's also funny, I would just like to sidebar to say, it's also funny that, you know, people are always talking about, be careful what you post, blah, 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 and like, don't be antagonistic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm super honest on Facebook. I am not as bad as I used to be, but also none of that stuff is hidden. And she and I became friends because I didn't think she was going to end up being my boss. And so when she like contacted me about an interview, I was like, oh, have I been showing my tail on Facebook? I hope not. But then whatever, maybe some people just appreciate honesty. Yes. So it's February 1st. Welcome to Black History Month. I'm going to go find my meme to post. I'm Black every month because I am. Black History Matters every month because it does. But now here we have our excuse to be really loud and blatant about it. So I'm going to use that too. Both, all. And I have to admit a failure that I never, ever, ever, ever am like prepared enough to tie Black history into what I'm doing, like at school. I just never am. I don't know why. Probably because I don't prepare. I should say I minimally prepare. That's not true. I minimally prepare. I am very efficient and good at connecting dots, so I can do a whole lot with a little. Imagine what I could do with a whole lot. So I'm a little sad because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have these Black History flashcard, note card things. I'll put the link so you guys can see what I'm talking about, that I bought, and they are in my desk, but I don't know what to do with them because kids are ruiners and I don't want them to ruin them. Oh, I said that I was gonna do something with the projector. I was gonna like project it up onto the screen so that they don't actually have to touch them because I don't trust them. And these are little kids is what I'm talking about. Big kids are not ruiners necessarily, or if they are, they feel bad about it. So yeah, I am walking into today very much like I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, but also very much like, gosh, I gotta step my game up. Like I've got to show them what we can do, yeah? And maybe you guys don't want to hear my poem again. I'll link it so that you guys can see it, not right now, or not in this context, and see it when I'm actually performing. But, you know, I'll just give you this one bar that pertains to school specifically right this second. You know, 60 years ago, the average Black college grad knew I do all this juxtaposition. They were smart as well as athletic, as well as talented in music, as well as talented in all the arts. And they went to school and got jobs and did fun things, and like they were well-rounded. And so the last line of that stanza says, in the Black future, we remember to believe in Renaissance and being good at everything. And maybe that's what I can do if I don't do anything else, is like make a cute poster. People have been sharing those like fantastic doors in all of the spaces. I've gotten it 3 times. Everybody wants me to make one of the big fancy doors with the girl with the big afro. I would love to. I promise y'all, kids are ruiners. I used to have things in my room and they just walk around and tear stuff down. But I can make a poster, and maybe I will use that line in the Black future. We remember to believe in Renaissance and being good at everything. And do definitely pull in some Langston Hughes poems. I'm already doing, I had already started my poetry unit, so that'll be good. If you guys have favorite Black poems, send them to me. If you have any other thoughts, suggestions, whatever, let me know. I am just the talker. I'm not necessarily the expert. I don't know everything. I'm always open to suggestions. So yeah, those were my disjointed thoughts. Happy Black History Month. I'm super excited. Also, I'm Black every month. Also, teaching. Also, it's not that easy. Also, shout out to Amanda Seals. Also, let's go to Mississippi. That's all. Thanks. Bye.